In 1945, the Protestant Hour, now Day One, is launched by an association of denominations and schools on the new medium of radio. When Bill and Joan are 8 and 9 years old, Atlanta's WSB Radio airs the first Protestant Hour program and continues today with Day One. One of the first Protestant Hour programs featured Costin Harrell, Methodist Bishop of Alabama and former pastor of First Methodist Atlanta.
Lord, what wilt thou have me to do? This question, or should I say this cry of an awakened heart, is written in the 9th of Acts. In that chapter is recorded the never-to-be-forgotten story of Paul's conversion.
In 1949, the Protestant Radio Center is officially chartered by Agnes Scott College, Candler School of Theology, Columbia Theological Seminary, Emory University, the Methodist Church, the Presbyterian Church U.S., the Protestant Episcopal Church, the United Lutheran Church, and the National Council of Churches Southeastern Office. Meanwhile, in 1949, Bill Law graduates from Georgia Tech and serves in the U.S. Army, and Joan May works as a flight attendant for Delta Airlines. As Joan and Bill Law begin their life together, important voices emerge through the Protestant Hour. Ground is broken on the Emory campus for the Protestant Radio and Television Center. 2 years later, the building is dedicated by 5 denominations. In 1958, Joan and Bill are married. And Sam Shoemaker, noted Episcopal rector and co-founder of Alcoholics Anonymous, preaches on the Protestant Hour.
What are the majority of our American people thinking about in this crisis? What are the majority of members of our churches thinking about? What are you really thinking about today? You know what many people think about mostly. Will business continue upward? Will the dollar lessen in buying power? Shall I get the preferment I want and think I deserve? Shall I take the trip to Europe or the Caribbean?
In the 1960s, the Protestant Hour continues as America's radio pulpit for messages of faith and hope from the mainline denominations. In 1961, Bill Law takes a job at Adair Realty and Loan Company, thus beginning a long and successful career in commercial real estate. Meanwhile, one of the most popular and influential Protestant Hour preachers, Edmund Steinley, is heard as the Lutheran preacher every year for 20 years.
Life is a study in startling and incongruous contrasts, bright shafts of light against a black and somber background. Most of the time we try to ignore the ugly contrasts and assume that life's a matter of varying shades of gray, mostly light gray, we'd like to believe. The truth was brought home.
While Joan and Bill enjoy young married life, they welcome Amy and Philip. And in 1966, Episcopal presiding Bishop John Hines preaches on the Protestant Hour.
One critic, writing recently of the American theater-going public, said, "Our audiences want to be harrowed and even slightly shocked from 8 till 10:30, and then reassured before 11.
Never one to sit still, Joan serves as president of the Atlanta Flower Show Association in 1969. In the 1970s, Bill joins Cobble & Company, now known as Collier's International Atlanta. In 1973, Bill Law becomes president of Cobble & Company and serves for 24 years, becoming chairman in 1995.
Hello, I'm Bill Law, Chairman Emeritus of Collier's International, which goes back to 1970. I joined the company on January 1, 70, when it was just Cobble & Company. We went through several name changes, and now we are Collier's International with a major force in the real estate market.
And Joan, a master gardener, joins other civic-minded folks in dreaming of a botanical garden for the city.
It's a beautiful day.
In 1976, America's iconic sweater-wearing calming presence, Presbyterian minister Fred Rogers, educated children on TV through stories and puppets as Mr. Rogers, and preached on the Protestant Hour.
In this world, there are many ways to say, I love you. It seems to me that one of our most important tasks as parents and Christian educators is to help and encourage both children and their adults to discover their...
Also in 1976, the Atlanta Botanical Garden is incorporated, giving the city a gift, 30 acres adjacent to Piedmont Park, and Joan eventually becomes a lifetime trustee. While phones are still only 7 digits, Atlanta experiences major growth during the bicentennial year. And Mrs. Billy Graham, Ruth Bell Graham, preaches on the Protestant Hour as a Presbyterian layperson.
Read to the children the great Bible stories. Explain to them the eternal truths found therein. Get them to memorize some of its tremendous passages. Take them to a church, and let them see you applying what the Bible teaches.
While Bill Law negotiates the Life of Georgia building sale, the Protestant Hour grows in influence, featuring some of the preeminent theologians of the 20th century, such as Anglican saint and Narnia chronicler C.S. Lewis.
In Greek, they have 4 words for love. Storge, S-T-O-R-G-E, means affection, the sort of love there ought to be between near relations. Philia, P-H-I-L-I-A, means friendship. Eros, E-R-O-S, is of course the love between the...
One of Bill's proudest achievements is a public-private partnership in 1984, enabling the Peachtree Branch Public Library to remain on Peachtree Street in a new building where Cobble would also office. Bill was always an avid tennis player and loved the outdoors, having climbed 6 mountains ranging from 13,700 feet to 19,000 feet in the U.S., Mexico, and Africa. Meanwhile, through the 1980s, fascinating preachers continue to share the good news on the Protestant Hour, like Episcopal layperson and well-known pollster George Gallup, British actor Michael York reading C.S. Lewis's classic book, Mere Christianity, and former Baptist minister turned Episcopal priest John Claypool.
Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the light." I take that to mean that His way embraces both the truth that we need to know and the life and energy that we must have to do it. In the person of Jesus Christ.
In 1990, All Saints Atlanta's associate priest Barbara Brown Taylor preaches for the first time on the Protestant Hour.
"Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden," Jesus says, "and I will give you rest." It's a passage you can find etched on tombstones or worked into stained glass windows or maybe even stitched in needlepoint and hung in the church parlor. My strongest memory of it dates back to my year as a hospital chaplain, when I conducted Sunday services in a tiny chapel on the ground floor.
Also in 1990, Father Austin Ford establishes the study hall at Emmaus House, a safe haven for children of the Peoplestown community where they could learn skills to enable them to succeed in school and in life. Bill and Joan become deeply committed to the study hall, and for years Bill encourages others in commercial real estate to support its work. Also in 1995, Bill Law joins the board of the Episcopal Media Center at the invitation of a very persuasive chairman, Jack Izzard, partner at King & Spalding. The Episcopal Media Center creates TV spots with actress Shirley Knight, promoting the Episcopal Church.
Allow you to grow when you join us at the Episcopal Church.
And produces a successful Shadowlands film with the BBC.
Most people know that they want something that cannot be had in this world. One has a glimpse of a country.
Earlier, it had produced The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, the beloved animated movie that first aired on CBS. In 2000, the archives of the Peabody Award-winning Protestant Hour are donated to the Peabody Media Archives at the University of Georgia. In early 2002, the Protestant Hour is renamed Day One by the denominational producers and new executive producer Peter Wallace. In 2004, the Protestant Hour Incorporated merges with the Episcopal Media Center to create a new ecumenical organization, the Alliance for Christian Media. Trustee Bill Law helps to make it happen. In 2010, President Jimmy Carter preaches on Day One to conclude a well-received Faith and Global Hunger series.
As a Christian, I'm happy to discuss my faith in relation to the great challenge of global hunger. I believe that Christ's command that we serve the poor is reason enough to struggle on behalf of those without enough to eat. But there's another powerful reason to extend.
And Bishop Michael Curry, now presiding bishop of the Episcopal Church, serves on the Alliance Board and preaches on day one.
In America, you can be a member of a church by just showing up, filling out the membership card, answering an altar call, visiting the pastor, new member committee. It's not complicated. But discipleship in community is a much more difficult and demanding proposition. Discipleship is about following.
In 2016, with Bill's encouragement, Colliers International Atlanta funds construction of a Habitat for Humanity home in cooperation with Families First.
Hello, I'm Kim Anderson, CEO of Families First. Families First is Georgia's largest and oldest nonprofit agency serving families and children. I have the pleasure of standing in front of the Bill Law House on Parsons Street in Atlanta, which is an epitome of what community is and what community does. It's a partnership between Colliers International, Families First, and Habitat for Humanity. And it's a tribute to Bill Law, who is a member of our board and who for decades has contributed and been dedicated to changing the lives of families and children.
Throughout the years, Joan and Bill remained dedicated to their family, their community, and their faith. And thanks to Bill's leadership and generosity, Day One continues to proclaim the good news around the world. What longtime Protestant Hour host Don Elliott Heald said in 1980 is still true today.
We know from the many letters received that this radio ministry has strengthened the strong, supported the weak, and helped people with their personal problems.